Hey, hello everyone. Welcome back to our channel Physics, where we actually learn physics. So we have started this series called as uses of this parallax method. Okay, uses of parallax method. So in the previous lecture, in the previous video, I have talked about 4 uses of this parallax method. So from this video onwards, until this next 4 videos, I am going to talk about these 4 uses in details. Okay, each one of them separately. Okay, so there are 4 uses and I am going to talk about each one of those separately. So over here, I am going to start with the first use of parallax method. Okay, that is to find the distance to the moon or any other planet or the sun. Okay, to find the distance to the moon or any planet or to the sun. Okay, so for all these 3 objects, okay, the method is going to be same. The technique or the way we use the parallax method is going to be same over here. Okay, so over here you can see some diagrams here that I have already drawn. Okay, here you can see moon, here you can see sun. Okay, don't go with the scales, huh? Okay, just this is just a representation. Definitely sun is very big, moon is very small. Definitely this is just for a representation purpose. Okay, earth here I have shown little bit bigger from our perspective, because from our side earth is big as we see it, and moon and sun appears smaller to us, so that's why I have just drawn this smaller. But actually we know they are very big. The sun is very big and moon is smaller than earth. Okay, that is not our concern. Our concern is this: how to find out the distance. Okay, so for some reasons, actually, I mean for some definite reasons, I have drawn these 2 diagrams separately. Here I am particularly talking about moon, particularly, and here I am talking about sun. But this method not only applies for the sun, it also applies for any planet. Okay, this one, and this one is for moon. In fact, this method right here that you can see, okay, this can be used for a moon also, but it is fine if you use this also. So I will tell you the differences between these two. Okay, first of all, we are using the parallax method, so I will just give you a little bit of an idea about the parallax method. What is parallax? Parallax is a phenomenon of apparent change in position of nearby object with respect to the background object when it is observed or viewed from 2 different locations. Okay, just like we do it with this finger and the 2 eyes. Okay, when I close one eye and observe, and when I open other eye, okay, like this. Okay, when I observe it separately with the 2 eyes, I see the position of this finger changed with respect to the background object. Right now the background object is this camera. Okay, so with respect to camera, this finger appears to change its position. So that is a parallax for us. So here just look at this situation. What you require? First of all, you require some background object. Remember this. So over here also in this method, we are going to require some background object. Okay, because the nearby object appears to change its position, with respect to the background object. So that's why we need some background object. Okay, so in this case, in such a cases, we choose any star. Okay, in case of this, we choose any star as our background distant object. Okay, and nearby object like this finger is nothing but either the moon or the sun or the planet, something that is under consideration. If you are finding the moon, finding the distance to the moon, then moon is our nearby object and star would be the distant object. If you are talking about the planet, then planet is your nearby object and star would be the farer or distant object. If you are talking about the sun, sun is the nearby object and star, the chosen star, would be the distant object or background object. Okay, So first of all, we always need to define all these things. Okay, you have to choose the particular star actually. Okay, you have to choose. Before choosing, without choosing, you cannot actually use this method. So always astronomers first choose a reference star. Okay, a fixed star in the skies, in the universe. Somewhere it will be there. So but only one star has to be chosen, a particular star. So let's say we have chosen some star. For example, let us say we have chosen some star. Now in the parallax method, you have just seen, okay, if you don't know the parallax method, just go and check my previous videos on parallax, in which I have experimentally explained what is parallax method and how exactly the positions change. So in short, I would say here that the nearby object appears to change its position. See, we are not actually changing it. The object is there only, but when it is viewed from two different locations, then its position appears to change for us. But the distant object does not change its position. Okay, it appears in the same direction. Okay, even though the nearby object appears to change its position, but the distant object does not appear to change its position. It appears in the same direction. Okay, with respect to the nearby object. Okay, it appears in the same direction. Okay, so this is a very important statement. Okay, very important conclusion that we are going to use over here. Okay, in this process. Okay, so see, I just said star is the one that we have chosen as our distant object. So here with respect to either this moon or sun or the planet, the star would appear to be in the same direction. Okay, it would appear to be in the same direction when it is viewed from two different locations. Okay, so again, this is very important. So see here, for parallax method, we require a nearby object, a distant background object, and not only this, we require two different point of observations, just like these eyes. They are the 2 points of observations. Okay, so over here also we require 2 points of observations. So now here you can see I have chosen on the Earth's surface, I have chosen 2 points A and B as the points of observations. You can see here A is one point of observation and B is another point of observation. You can see that these 2 points are at a certain distance. Okay, the distance should be quite large. Remember this, the distance should be quite large. If you want to observe the parallax phenomenon, then it should be quite large. Otherwise, you will not be able to see it, because parallax occurs if there are 2 points of observations. So here we require these 2 points. So in case of a moon, you can choose any 2 points on the surface of the Earth at large distances. Okay, like these 2 I have chosen. Now, what do you mean by these points of observations? What are these? Is it just 2 locations on the Earth where we just go stand and observe the skies? Is it something like this? Definitely no. At these 2 locations that we choose, we have to build our observatories. Okay, we have to build our observatories, and in those observatories we must have some telescopes. Okay, because we are observing what? A very far object which is very far. So for such purposes, we need to have an observatory with a very powerful, very strong, very large telescope. Okay, so over here we have got 2 observatories at these points with telescopes in them. Okay, now this is one case. I am talking about the moon here. Okay, over here if you look, this is sun. Okay, this is sun or any other planet. Definitely the distance between the moon and the Earth is definitely much smaller than the distance between the sun and the Earth. or any other planet and the earth? Definitely. Moon is the closest object to us, isn't it? Moon is the closest object. Okay, I'm just calling it object. So this is closest, but sun is very far. Any other planet is also very far. Okay, like Mars is very far. If you compare the distances, the distance from the moon to the earth and the distance from the Mars or any other planet or the sun to the earth, this is very large and this is small in comparison to that. Okay, so in such a cases when the distances are very large, okay, to observe the parallax phenomenon, we generally choose the 2 points of observations at exactly diametrically opposite points of the earth. Okay, I have chosen here, or we have chosen here, 2 points of observations, and these 2 points of observations lie on the diametrically opposite points of the earth. You can see this is a diameter, and A and B are what? Diametrically opposite points, and we have built our observatories at such locations for this purpose. Okay, generally we do this, generally. Okay, not only in this case for sun or planet, okay, any other planet, for moon also we can go for the same method. But in case of a moon, even if you don't do this, that is fine. You can choose any 2 points. Okay, it's not required that you go here, okay, at the diametrically opposite point. You can choose it here somewhere. That is also fine, that can also work, but this is better. This will give you much better results. Okay, especially in case of when the distances are very large, this becomes very handy. Okay, this becomes very handy. I will tell you why you require this. Okay, see, definitely this distance is very small in comparison to this one. Okay, this is small in comparison to this one. Okay, this diameter, isn't it? So when this is large, then you also require to choose the distance between the 2 points of observations as very large. Okay, so why do we do that? It's very simple. You can see, for example, here is some object. Let's say here is some object, and let's say you are observing it from 2 points of observations. Okay, now suppose these are the 2 points of observations. Let's say A and B. Okay, let's say A and B. Okay, now you can see here the distance is set over here, some distance. Let's call this small d. Okay, now you can see here, if I join these two, okay, there will be certain angle, okay, theta. Let's say this is our object and we are observing it from A and B. Okay, now over here you can see there is certain angle. This angle is called as a parallax angle. Okay, I'm not talking about the whole process right now, just see, this is the parallax angle in this case. Okay, now here you have seen there is a certain distance. Okay, there is a certain distance. Okay, yeah. Now I'm not saying this is diameter of the earth or anything. This is just a normal, normal diagram. Okay, now just check this angle over here. Just check this angle carefully. Okay, now if I choose the point A and B quite far like this, okay, instead of these points I choose point of observation A and B here, let's say at A dash and B dash. Okay, let's say we have shifted from this AB to A dash and B dash, for example. Okay, so in this case, now see what happens. See what happens here. Now you can check, okay, if the points of observations are A dash and B dash, now the angle, look at this angle. Okay, this angle has now increased, isn't it? This angle has now increased, isn't it? So you can see here, whenever we increase the distance between the 2 points of observations, then the parallax angle automatically increases. Over here I am considering this distance to be same, okay, basically, but you can just observe here, very simply, that yes, when the distance between these 2 points was small, the angle was also small. As I increased the distance between the 2 points of observations, then this angle also increased. Okay. Now what is the benefit of this? The benefit is simple. You can see the angle has increased. Now for us, okay, for us as an observer, for us this is more easy to observe. Okay, more easy to observe, because this is now large, this is now what? A large number, and this large number would be much easier for us to observe in comparison to this small number. Generally, if I go in these cases the angles are very small because the distances are very large. Okay, so over here the angles are generally in minutes or seconds. Minutes and seconds, they are very small numbers. So in such a cases, it is better that we somehow increase this angle, okay, by hook or crook. Yes, definitely there is no hook or crook in science, but somehow we have to increase this angle so that it becomes observable for us, okay, easily. Okay, so this is what we are doing over here. Okay, this is what we are doing. Okay, so when we increase this distance, the angle also increases. Okay, so that's the reason over here we have increased this distance. We have chosen these 2 points. Why? I will tell you. If I choose here, okay, if I choose the points over here, then the angle over here would be very small. Okay, very small. Why it will be very small? Because this distance is very large. Okay, this distance is very large in comparison to this distance. So for moon, this is workable. Okay, this is workable somehow, but for planets or sun, this is not workable. This one is not workable. You have to choose diametrically opposite point. For moon, this would also work, but for planets and sun, this is not going to work. You have to choose diametrically opposite points. Okay, I will give you one example. See here, suppose these are the 2 points of observations, A and B, at a certain distance, and this is our object. Okay, now you can see what angle it makes over here. Okay, something like this. Okay, what angle it makes? Let's say it makes an angle something like, let's say, theta 1. But now if you just shift this, see, there is certain distance here. Now if I increase the distance, okay, I am keeping this AB as it is. Okay, I am not changing this distance between A and B. Now see what happens when I now find the angle. Okay, you can check what is happening. The angle has decreased. Okay, the angle has decreased. See, I have not changed this AB, it is as it is. Okay, now in that case, you see here, when the distance increases, the angle decreases. So same thing will happen over here. See, for the case of a moon, we have chosen 2 points somewhere on the surface of the earth. But if I choose these 2 same points in case of sun or any other planet, okay, same point, now the distance is very large. Okay, here the distance is very large, and when the distance rises, the angle decreases. So here the angle will become very small, the parallax angle, very small. Okay, and in that case, what will happen? It would be difficult for the observers, for us to observe it. Okay, so that is the reason why we have to choose diametrically opposite points. Okay, so I hope this is clear. This is just a background. We have not yet started with actual experiment. Okay, so now after all this, okay, I hope everything is clear why we have chosen such cases, why this is smaller, why this is bigger. Okay, what happens if the distance increases, what happens if the distance is small, okay, what happens if you increase this distance. Yeah, one more thing, this distance, as I have already discussed in the previous videos, the distance between 2 points of observations is called as basis. Like here, A and B are the points of observations, so the distance between them is basis, is called as basis. Remember this, basis, and this angle is called as parallax angle. Remember these two terms. Okay, now let's move on and let's see how exactly do we find out the distances. Okay, now I'm going to consider this case right here. Okay, not this one. You can choose this one also, that is also fine, but for my reference I'm going to choose this one. Okay, so let's say that we are finding out the distance from Earth to the Sun. Let's say we are finding out the distance from Earth to the Sun. Okay, now as I said, first we have to choose the distant object. So we have already chosen which one? Star as our distant object. Okay, also we have to choose 2 points of observations. So we have chosen here 2 points of observations, A and B, which are diametrically opposite. Okay, diametrically opposite. Now remember here, the distant objects do not change their position, they appear in the same direction even if we observe from 2 different locations. Okay, so this distance, if you see, it's quite large. Okay, this from A to B, the diameter of the Earth is large, but yeah, definitely it is not large in comparison to this distance. This is way too large. If I just go precisely, the distance from A to B, the diameter of the Earth is about 12,800, somewhere around this kilometers, and this distance is very large. It's about I think 1.496 into 10 raised to 11 meter. That's a big number. Okay, anyways, now let's see how we actually find out the distance. Okay, so now everything has been defined. This is our nearby object. Okay, according to parallax method, the star is a distant background object. Okay, this is the 2 points of observations A and B. Okay, now in the parallax method, what we do, we observe the nearby object from 2 points of observations and observe the angle. Okay, so let's do the same thing here. So first, let's say I go to this position. First, let's say I go to this position, let's say at A. Okay, so now from this point A, using my telescopes, first of all I will observe the star. Okay, I will observe the star, the distant object first of all. Now the star would appear in a straight direction for us. Okay, in the same direction. If I go here also, I will find this star in the same direction. The same star would be there only because it's a distant object. Check the parallax. So again, from both of these positions, from A and B, the star would appear in the same direction. Let's say over here. Okay, the same star, let's call this star S. Same star appears, okay, in the same directions from these 2 positions. Okay, from these 2 positions. So what we do is, from our 2 observatories, we observe the same star, okay, simultaneously. 2 observatories, different team is working, okay, different people, but they are all communicating to each other and they are doing the work simultaneously. Okay, they are doing the work simultaneously. So they will observe the same star simultaneously. Okay, so let's say we have observed the star. Okay, so that's our first step. I would just note down here. Okay, first step is what? Observe the distant object from A and B simultaneously. That is our first step. Okay, now what we do is, after we observe the same star from both positions, now we just rotate a little bit. Okay, we rotate a little bit from both positions. Simultaneously we rotate our telescope a little bit and we observe a same spot. Okay, see, first of all we have to choose a same spot on the sun or any other planet. Okay, we choose the same spot and now we just rotate from here and we observe the same spot from both positions. Okay, so here the second step would be rotate the telescope at A and B simultaneously and observe, or we can say focus on the same spot. Observe the same spot on the sun or any planet. Okay, so that's our the second step. Okay, now you can see we have rotated by a certain angle. So let's say the angle through which we have rotated is theta1 over here, and let's say the angle through which we have rotated is theta2. Okay, I don't know what that angle is, but there is some angle. Let's say it is theta2. Okay, now this angle is noted down. Okay, so I will just write the third step. Note down theta1 and theta2. Remember, these theta1 and theta2 must be in radian. Okay, radian is what? It's the SI unit of plane angles, like theta1 and theta2. Okay, now after we do this, that's it. Our job is done. Okay, that's our final thing. That's it. Nothing else is remaining. Now only the calculations remain. Okay, see here. Now if you look at this diagram carefully, you can see this line. Okay, this line and this line, they are parallel. So that means this angle and this angle must be same. So this angle would also be theta1. And you can see again over here, this line over here and this line, it is again parallel. So this angle and this angle must be same. Okay, theta2. So this angle, you can see the total angle over here is how much? Theta1 plus theta2. So let's call this angle as theta. Okay, so over here theta is going to be equal to theta1 plus theta2. And what is this theta? As I just told you, it's just the parallax angle. Okay, this is parallax angle. So we have got the parallax angle that we needed. Now if you check this, you have one diagram over here, something like this. Okay, something like this. You can see AB over here. Okay, and over here we have the sun actually. So let's call this not sun, let's call this our object O. So I will just call this O. Okay, now there is certain angle theta. Here is the distance. What is this distance? It is D. And the distance from earth to the sun is, let's say, small d. Okay, let's say it is small d, and this is what we are finding out, isn't it? This is what we want. See, in this whole process, this capital D must be known to us, that is the diameter of the earth. If you don't know this, we can't go for it. Okay, we have to first find out this by hook or crook. Again, there is no hook or crook in science, but in some way we have to know this. Okay, anyways, now using the definition of plane angle. Okay, we know the definition of plane angle. This is a plane angle. Theta, okay, is going to be equal to, see here, theta is going to be equal to this opposite upon this adjacent. Okay, opposite upon this adjacent. Remember, this works. Okay, this equation works very well if this distance is very small in comparison to this distance. Then only this equation works. Okay, for some reasons. Otherwise, this equation does not work. Okay, if this distance and this distance is nearly same, then we can't use this equation. Okay, then there are other techniques that can be used, but right now in our case, definitely this distance is very large in comparison to this one. So that's why this equation will always work. Now, what do we want? We want this distance, isn't it? We want this distance. Okay, but you might also say, we don't want this distance. Actually, we want this, isn't it? Actually, we want this distance. You might just say, but again, as I said, sun is very far. Okay, sun is very far from us. See, this distance, okay, this distance is negligible. This radius of the earth is negligible in comparison to this. What is radius of the earth? 6400 kilometer, almost 6400 kilometers. What is that distance in comparison to 1.496 into 10 raised to 11 meters? So you can imagine. Okay, so in such a cases, this distance and this distance, they are almost same. Okay, they are almost same. That's why we have chosen this distance d. Okay, that's why we are saying that we want this small d. Okay, yeah, if in case this distance is not nearly same to this distance, in case, then you can use other properties of the triangle and you can solve that. That is no question, that is no problem. But in general cases, especially in these cases, you don't need to do that, because I don't think there is any difference between this and this distance from the sun to the earth. Almost same, because this is negligible, this one, in comparison to this. That's why we neglect it and we just use this diagram right here. Okay, so now we want this small d. So small d would be equal to capital D upon theta. That's it. We have got what we are looking for so far. Okay, we have got it. This is the distance. We know this capital D, diameter of the earth. We know theta. We have ourselves find out, isn't it? We have just found out this theta. Again, that should be in radian. Okay, remember, and this should be in meters. Okay, so in this way, we have been able to find out the distance to the moon, okay, or to the planet, or to the sun from our earth. Okay, so I hope this procedure is pretty clear. I have talked about each and every detail, okay, actually, which people consider while working this up. Okay, when they are actually working on this theory or on this experiment, they consider each and everything, and I have tried to explain to you each and everything that the people do. Why this small distance, why this big distance, okay, why do we not use big distance, and what will happen if you use this diameter. Okay, everything I have talked about over here. Okay, so the experiment is pretty simple. You can see here what we do is just from the 2 points of observations, first we observe the distant star, okay, which is in the same direction, same star. Okay, these are not different stars. Okay, these are not different, these are same stars. So we observe it from the 2 different locations. Okay, then we just rotate a little and we observe the same spot on the given planet or some sun or our sun. Okay, and then we note down these angles, theta 1 and theta 2. From the diagram you can see this angle and this angle is same, this angle and that angle is same. Okay, in that way we get this theta 1 and theta 2, and we just add it up, we get this total angle. This is a parallax angle. This is our basis, that is capital D. Okay, this is basis. What is basis? Nothing but the distance between the 2 points of observations. Okay, so in this way we have got everything over here. We have considered this distance as small d. Okay, now we use the formula for plane angle according to our definition. Theta is equal to this opposite upon this adjacent. Again, as I told you, this equation works only if this is very small in comparison to this distance. Okay, otherwise it won't work. There are some reasons for that. Okay, so in this way we got what we wanted. We got the distance from sun or moon or any planet to the earth. Okay, so I hope this is pretty clear to each one of you. Okay, if not, you can ask me in the comment section. Okay, but I hope it is clear. Okay, I hope there will be no comments regarding the doubts. Okay, if there is, I can answer. Let's see. Okay, so that's it for right now. So for now, I should say bye bye. See you next time. Okay, have a nice day. Bye bye.